Hey, what's going on YouTube? Millennial Trader here from the Millennial Trader YouTube channel. Today is December 21st, 2024, and we're going to do a crypto market review weekend edition. It's been a few days since my last video, and I purposely did that because I wanted to get a little bit more price action information, let things settle out with all of the macroeconomic news and just get a little bit more information in terms of where we're going next as we head into the new year. This would probably be the, I don't know, maybe second to last episode for the year as things kind of ramp up with Christmas and New Year's celebrations. I might get busy myself. So just putting it out there that this may be the second to last video for the year, but looking forward to posting more episodes into 2025. All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, get a lay of the land, see if there's anything in particular that has caught my attention. We're going to check in on the fear and greed index, see where we're at currently relative to the last episode. And then we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into 7 different coins this week. Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, checking on Ripple and Solana. New to this week is Doge. Get to see what people are talking about and what I'm seeing in the charts there. Give you an update on my AVAX position and check in back on PEPE, which I previously spoke about maybe five weeks ago. All right, so with that, we'll move on to the charts. All right, so look at that. Today I'm looking at the fear and greed index and look at where we're standing. 62. Previously I mentioned, we don't generally stay within the extreme greed area for an extended period of time, and look at that. We've completely collapsed from that area, and we're just kind of just chilling within the greed to neutral area, which I previously mentioned is kind of where I felt we would end up being after all of the euphoria kind of died out, and people, after everybody started to notice their attention in the market, this is kind of where I presumed we would actually end up being. But interestingly enough, we're actually below the 70% mark where I had previously thought we would be. So it could be an over exaggeration currently, just based on how things have shaped up this past week and the volatility that was in the stock market itself. But for the time being, I'm still kind of leaning bullish. I don't. I'm not making any major calls in terms of, okay, now is the time to get short. As we'll see in the chart, certain coins are holding up better than others. And as we'll look in the Bitcoin dominance chart, I'll let you know kind of what my thoughts are in terms of the relative strength of certain coins versus others. So, we could kind of just play in and around here. My expectation is that we kind of get back into the 70% range, but we'll see what happens. Also, what kind of just popped up into my head was maybe we might get a sell the news event as we head into Donald Trump's inauguration. Just something temporary, a short-term um, drop in crypto market prices as everybody kind of bought leading up to the president-elect's victory in the United States. So we'll see what happens. I'm not taking it out of the equation, but it's something that just recently popped into my mind that could be a factor for crypto prices in the new year. We might get a temporary drop to kind of take out any new longs over the past, let's say, month and a half, um, and see where we go from there. All right, so for the Bitcoin dominance, in my last episode, I mentioned that we had a drop, and then we previously spiked back up. So to me, it seems like there's um, an indication in the market from just safety that people are kind of getting out of the altcoins and kind of coming back into Bitcoin as a safety play or as some kind of a hedge. But whatever 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 market share Bitcoin loses, it generally goes into the altcoin space and vice versa. So, you know, we generally typically stay within the 50 to 60% dominance historically. And we're kind of just right there smack in the middle in terms of Bitcoin's overall representation in the market. So, I can't really make heads or tails of it, but I do still believe that there are other coins that have better potential setup in terms of price appreciation or percentage gains relative to Bitcoin. So um, for now, it's still something that I'm watching. If we happen to drop to the 50% level, then that, in terms of Bitcoin's dominance, then that would suggest to me that there's a concerted effort from investors, both retail and institutions, that they're getting in on the altcoin space, and now it's to the races in terms of that particular sector. So just something that I'm watching. Obviously, Bitcoin's dropped a few weeks ago, which presented significant opportunity in the altcoin space, and now we've kind of pulled back, whereas Bitcoin's overall dominance has come back um, in favor. So that's that. I'm gonna bring over my charts, and we'll go through the first one. All right, so as I mentioned previously in my last episode, I said, and I made the call, that 107,000 would effectively be the top for Bitcoin. And I said that because there were a few different indications. One, when I'm looking at the DeMark indicators, I get a combo setup 9 and a sequential 13. And so that typically indicates to me some type of top or consolidation phase. And, I wasn't willing to put on any new positions or put on any new trades because of the fact that I know this model well enough to tell me that there is a higher probability or higher chance, or it's more risk to be putting on new positions given how stretched we've come over the past 9 to 10 weeks. And so, there was a lot of euphoria over the past couple of weeks where it was just being pushed up to 100,000. We pushed past it, and obviously this past week, we went to as high as 108,388. So, I can't guarantee that we're gonna top out at that exact particular level, but it's an objective area for me to indicate that could reasonably be a temporary top. And since that point in time, we've come back almost $10,000. So it's significant. Obviously, had you put on, even over the past month, if you put on a new trade in Bitcoin, you may actually be underwater. So for me, I'm just, I was right in the fact of not putting on any new trades because, Bitcoin's price basically went up and hit exactly the area that I was anticipating it would essentially come back to. So, that's one thing that I noted, and I'm not as I previously mentioned, I'm not willing to put on any new positions until, well, in this particular case, looking at the weekly chart, I was previously talking about $90,000 as the area where I would want to potentially scale into. Let me just take a quick look at something. Right. So in my particular case, um, as we look on the next chart, just in terms of Ethereum and Bitcoin relative to Ethereum, I said that there was better opportunity to be going long Ethereum rather than Bitcoin, just because of how extended we've come from the initial bottom back in early October. So for me, if I was going to put on a trade and enter a new position in Bitcoin, generally speaking, I would probably still want to put it in and around this $90,000 price level, because I'm going to put it on a daily and I think we'll see it much better or much clearer. But look, even on the daily, this past week we topped out at a 13, and we've been basically falling ever since. And I'm anticipating that we will end up completing this -9 count, which should probably put us in and around this support level right here if I'm looking at the Ichimoku clouds. Sorry. So somewhere in and around here, that's probably where I would be comfortable enough to put on a trade, knowing that there is this support area, which happens to be exactly unrelatedly to this propulsion full exhaustion level. So for me, I'm not really ready to put on new positions in Bitcoin. If I was going to do pair trades, I might consider shorting Bitcoin, either directly or through an ETF, and going long another coin, which I'll talk about going forward. What's also interesting is the fact that MACD also turned bearish in and around the same time that the 13 came up. So that to me is another confluence of signals that suggests that we may actually be heading down um, further for Bitcoin. Yeah, from a risk reward point of view, like, it makes no sense for you to be putting on any new exposure until at least this 86,000 price level gets tapped. And from there, it's from a risk reward point of view, like, you've anybody who bought over the past 6 weeks is effectively underwater, and you're not. So that would essentially shake out all the most recent longs, and if you put on if you put a stop loss under 82,000, then you've minimized your risk about $5,000. So just thinking about it tactically, um, that's probably the ideal area to buy in. Nothing nothing overly glaring in terms of MACD. It's still quite strong. The momentum is still there for Bitcoin, and I do suspect Bitcoin will continue to retest this 107 area. Um, and if we fail that retest, then that would give me more indications that's the top um, for Bitcoin for 2024, or at least 2025, going into 2025. So let's go and look at Ethereum. All right, so with Ethereum, notice interestingly enough, this happens to be a significant area of resistance, this $4,000 level. So that's notable because we've tried one, two, three, four, five times this past year to try and break through this $4,000 price level, and each time we've kind of failed to break through it. So it's notable. I'm not sounding the alarms just yet because when I put on the Ichimoku clouds, look, we happen to retest the baseline support area, which is it's essentially a moving average uh, calculation of the midpoint of the last 26 periods. So that's a good area of support to have bought. What's also notable and unrelatedly coincidental is we have this propulsion bearish momentum level, which, if properly breached, would then indicate that we may retest this $2,000 level. But so far, we touched it and we bounced from it. So that's good if you're looking to continue to be long Ethereum. And from my point of view, as I mentioned previously, I'm continuing to build a large position in Ethereum over the next little while. I don't want to necessarily disclose, the number of coins because I don't know technically who's watching or who actually potentially knows me. So that's that's all I'm going to say for that. But for the time being, we bottomed on a 9 count right here. We topped out on a 9 count right up here. So, the effectiveness of this model, I can't stress enough. It's amazing. It's a work of art because the person that designed this 40 years ago was able to identify these patterns before mainstream computers kind of took over. So he was doing this manually, and you can use these indicators in any time frame, in any market, for any security, whether that's bonds, stocks, crypto, futures. You can't use it for options, but you can use you can look at it from the point of the underlying security and kind of make your speculative bets or hedge positions that way. But the utility of it is outstanding, and I can't stress enough how good it is. And obviously, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of institutions and hedge funds and investors also utilizing this model. And so, believe me when I tell you, there are areas of support and resistance that they're looking at concurrently with the use of the DeMark indicators. So, anybody who tries to tell you that, oh, look at RSI, well, a lot of these modern technical analysis indicators are lagging. And so they don't do an effective job of giving you an edge in the market, whereas this does. I can specifically tell you objectively levels of support and resistance. I can show, I can see hidden levels of support and resistance that you won't see with any other type of indicator or proprietary model. And I'm sharing this with you because to use this takes significant amount of learning. It's also very costly to use this platform, and if you have some of the more investment grade products like a Bloomberg terminal, then you're paying $15,000 for that plus various subscriptions. And this is, for me, it's useful enough that it's kind of just what I subscribe to. So for me, I'm this has me, yes, I'm obviously, price has come down from a couple weeks ago, but I'm not worried enough to say that this is the end for Ethereum, and I say that because let me show you something quite interesting and why I believe Ethereum is the continued play going into 2025. Okay, so this is Bitcoin relative to Ethereum, and as I mentioned previously, whenever you see a 9 or a 13 show up in either direction, that usually is a turning point or a level of exhaustion or potentially a top or bottom, where if you're putting on new trades, that's generally an area where it's higher risk of putting on a new position at that point in time because you're more likely going to be subject to drawdown, and it's not fun being in a losing position right away. So look, these were, the 9 and the 13 signals came up, but they weren't, obviously, those weren't effective timing signals because we had subsequent and developing counts in between there that then suggested to me that it was not the appropriate time to go start shorting Bitcoin or not. So we've topped out here. There's a 13 signal, another 13 signal from both the combo and sequential indicators. So that's notable to me. I think when I was looking at this, I didn't enter Ethereum back here because just of how widespread and how significant the momentum was for MACD. But as the second 13 signal came up and the third signal came up, look at where MACD has started to come down from. And so we're kind of playing within this area where it's kind of it dropped back down, it's retested the secondary line. So if it rejects from here, knowing that we're on a sequential 2 count, then that would indicate to me and give me further assurance that Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin into 2025. So obviously, back here when price was going up, that meant Bitcoin's relative percentage gains were more than Ethereum. And obviously this past week where we just happened to top out at Bitcoin's 108 level, it came up at exactly the same time when the 13 showed up. So for me, again, that's also another indication why, or a reason why I'm not putting on a new Bitcoin position at these current levels. I would much rather be buying Ethereum for the potential play of Ethereum basically coming back down to initially this area right down here. So that's what I'm anticipating Ethereum to do over the next little while, and I'm happy to continue to keep buying Ethereum, just irrespective of what price currently is at. All right, so let's take a look at XRP. And I'm going to use Kraken's exchange just because they have more price data. Sometimes certain exchanges will have more trading history of a particular coin just because of when they decided to adopt the coin or or list it on their exchange. And when I was looking at Coinbase, I think XRP didn't have enough price data, whereas Kraken did. So overall, we're still in a bullish environment for Ripple. Oops, let me fix that. What I wanted to show now is, so we bottomed on a 13 count, and look, even in this sideways market, the effectiveness of the DeMark indicators, so long as price is actually moving and it's not just stagnant, the counts will continue in either direction, just based on where price is relative to where price was. So obviously, had you acted upon this signal back in late October, early November, to go long XRP, you would have had a 400% gain from that point in time. And so I still continue to believe that Ripple will outperform Bitcoin, because I'm still potentially looking for this retest of all-time highs. And should we get it, then at that point I'll exit my position. If we get to the $3 level, then that might also be an area where I'm going to start to take potential profits. But in this particular case, I don't see anything wrong with the chart, especially because of how long we've consolidated. Because of how long Ripple has consolidated for. It basically took 2 years of price consolidation for Ripple to ultimately move up. So we had 2 years of just back and forth sideways actions between 30 and 50 cents, and then coinciding with Donald Trump's the U.S. presidency and indications that Donald Trump was going to win. That's that's, look at where we are right now, $2.22. So we're on a 7 count of a potential 9 count. So long as price goes above, where was it? So long as price goes above 290 in the next 2 weeks, we'll complete the 9 count, which is also relatively close to the $3 area level, which I'm previously watching as an area of for me to start to take profits. I do still think we will retest this all-time high back on January 8th, because that's really the only area of resistance for this coin going for now. So any dips, I think, are buyable dips. And what's notable is, as I previously mentioned, I would be a buyer at 206, and I would continue to increase my holdings of Ripple, anticipating the potential final pump up to that $3 and $3.35 area, at which point I'll have to reevaluate and see whether I want to continue to hold for continuation or not. But based on the current chart, like, we're still within the range of what I anticipate us retesting in the next few weeks. And obviously MACD is the momentum in MACD is bullish, so there's nothing wrong there. Let me just take a quick check-in on Ripple relative to Bitcoin and see what's happening there. Yeah, so Ripple is still outperforming Bitcoin. There was just significant underperformance of Ripple. Since basically 2023, we just have we've effectively dropped since 2023, and now price has been pushing up. I don't know if we'll actually get to this propulsion full exhaustion level up here, but I do anticipate, at least for the time being, Ripple is is still outperforming Bitcoin over the last month or so. So that's another reason why I continue to want to be in Ripple and not in Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look at Solana. All right, so in the previous episode, I mentioned I was not looking to get into Solana because the overall charts suggested to me that Solana was going to continue to go down, and look at what happened over the last week, where prices continued to drop. It's basically fading. We're on a -2 of a 9 count, so potentially 7 additional weeks of Solana's price kind of dropping. And it wouldn't surprise me if we get to this 150 area, which happens to be, if I'm looking at the lagging span, so the lagging span is current price, sorry, the current closing price projected 26 periods behind. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we get to this area of support, at which point we may get a bounce. But I'm not, just in terms of the way that the chart is looking, I'm not really bullish Solana. And I actually do believe we'll probably get down to that 150, maybe 135 level, 140 level, based on what I'm seeing right here. So we'll see how things go. And when I'm looking at Solana versus Bitcoin, Solana was underperforming Bitcoin in a major way. So yeah, look at that. So this chart does not hold up well if I'm looking at where to put capital for the time being. It broke through what looks to be a significant area of support in and around here. Yeah, there is nothing that interests me in Solana at the current point in time. If anything, we probably will end up retesting where this other major area of support. In and around here. Just give me a second. Yeah, I think we could get all the way back down here, right where the previous sequential 9 presented itself. Okay, let's take a look at Doge. Okay, so look at this. Look at this. So we topped out at a sequential and combo 9, and we're looking for a 13 signal for combo. So to effectively complete the count, at which point that would give me an indication that that's basically the top is in. But what's also interesting is that we're also in the process of completing a combo sell signal, a combo buy signal. So that's also interesting. There's enough, price has moved away from 45 cents in enough direction to have the price flip, in which case that's the reason why we're kind of looking forward to the potentially completing a -9 down. and it's possible we actually, this 45 cent level might actually be the top for Doge. I'm just looking at things. Yeah, so if if we break down from this hidden level of support where it's called the bearish momentum level, and next week we go underneath, then that would indicate to me that we're probably heading back um, to the start of this move right in and around here, 13 cents. And if we get there, then you basically have 3 years of buyers trapped. So that's interesting. And that's also a reason why I'm not in Doge, because one, I don't get the value of, I don't understand the value of Doge or its benefit. But when I'm also looking at Doge relative to Bitcoin, like Doge is underperforming Bitcoin now. So interestingly enough, the 9 came up right here, and that was basically Doge's top. And now we've kind of been retracing this entire move. So that, again, that to me suggests we're probably heading back down, and doesn't look good for holders of Doge. I would not be in it. All right, so uh, for AVAX, so I'm currently still in AVAX, but based on um, how much we've moved from this 13, I'm probably going to reevaluate whether or not I want to continue holding, um, or I'll exit the trade and take a small loss. But what's kind of kept me in the trade is we have this uh, area of support from the cloud, Ichimoku cloud, and look at that. Like we held it exactly to where the cloud is. Yes, we breached it, but we never closed below it. So that's notable. Excuse me. So I'm still kind of undecided as to what I want to do with this position. I was anticipating that this was going to go up higher, but um, even I get the trade wrong. So if we're all not perfect. So sometimes we get it wrong, and as long as you're managing risk, you're not going to get blown out. So you can always recover from these trades. So and also this was a small trade for me in terms of relative size, so I'm comfortable sitting in an unrealized loss position. Yeah, so I might exit the position as going into the end of the year. I'm looking at this. We'll see. If price shoots back up, then I might scale back in for the potential just to exit break even, but I'm comfortable taking a small loss regardless if the trade doesn't work out. Oops. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just checking to see the relative strength of AVAX versus Bitcoin, and yeah, so now we've kind of started to underperform. When I was looking at this chart entering into the position, I saw that we were holding above the conversion and the baseline. We were also above this hidden area of support, um, the bearish momentum level. So I thought, so long as we hold that level, things should be favorable for AVAX. There is this area right here. It's an exhaustion level, but the fact that we're in the process of completing 13 count, uh, that's generally areas where, if I was looking to buy, I wouldn't want to be exiting right now just because of how close we are to the 13. But so, we could complete the count in 3 weeks, in which case that may be the reason why. I might have been just a bit early, and I might want to continue to average in for the potential continuation to the upside. But I was potentially anticipating that we would retest this level up here. Just from where we were down here, I was anticipating that we would get back up, but we'll see. The other indication, or the other reason why I was kind of bullish AVAX, is because we've essentially been underperforming Bitcoin since January 2022, and we've just set a number of lower highs and lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and in and around late 2023, that's when the directionally AVAX started to turn around. So if I do a little bit of technical analysis here, I'm taking this high. So we'll see. Right now it's kind of just underneath this trend line, and that was also another area why I was kind of looking at as well. If price comes back up, that might be, the trade still might be valid. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of wiggle room before I decide to call it quits. And when I'm looking at this as well, there was this area of support that I said, it should hold. And this is going back all the way to 2023. So I'm watching it. I may decide to continue to hold it even longer than the end of December, just because we've retested this major area of support multiple times over the last year and a half. That just gives me a strong indication that this is the level. So, if I have to continue to bear the unrealized loss, then I'll do that. But I think the trade should pan out well over the next little while. All right, so let's take a look at the last coin. Check in on PEPE coin. I see a lot of people on Reddit talking about it, saying, hold the fort, hold the line. Let's see. I'm going to go to Kraken's exchange because I guess they adopted PEPE earlier than some of these other exchanges. So that's kind of the reason why I'm looking at it. And I'm going to take a look at the daily chart. Okay, so what's notable here is the fact that two things. So we topped out on a 13 December 8th, December 9th. And then from that point in time, we've made and completed the full 9 count down here. So that's also notable. So could this potentially be an inflection point where we kind of just bounce back up? Maybe. And I say that because if I'm looking at the Ichimoku clouds, notice how in the past, excuse me, not in the past, but notice how the lagging span also bounced from the conversion line, the baseline, and so long as it holds current price holds, this should be a very good area of support. Now, if for some reason price breaks through this cloud, then all bets are off and we're probably heading back down to uh, 0.129, and in which case, you pretty much lost the entire. You pretty much retraced 50% of the move to the downside. So if I do that, just give me a second. I use a lot of different tools from DeMark because they give me uh, objective and unrelated areas that I'm potentially looking at as well. So yeah, from this 13, we've pretty much retraced 50% of the move. Absolute retracement is a function of Fibonacci, um, but it's based on DeMark's objective calculations. So yeah, interestingly enough, we bounced. We went we dropped 50% and we bounced. So we're at the 0.618 area, and I think that's a good area of support. And the longer that we kind of hold this area, which to me looks like it should, and notice how the cloud kind of moves up over time. That could potentially be this area could potentially be a good area of support to continue to scale into your position. So I would I would be a buyer at current levels. And previously I mentioned, um, several weeks ago that I was not looking to get into PEPE at those prices, and obviously that was the right call. But at this point in time, the risk reward is favorable to me to want to be long, to start going long the coin, and I would put a stop loss. I would put a stop loss if we retest this nine candle right here. So the low of about 15. So you're risking, the risk isn't significant, and um, you could potentially scale in at these prices and put your stop under 0.00015, and that would be good risk management for the potential. You come back up and you get a bounce, but the extent of the bounce, I would probably say, at least in the short term, you're probably going to have difficulty getting above this area. And I say that because, you have all of these people up here that are essentially trapped. And so they will, out of fear, they will probably want to exit at break even, or are hoping to exit at break even. Um, and so that might give you some price pressure. Let's take a look at PEPE versus Bitcoin. It would surprise me if PEPE was outperforming Bitcoin. Yeah. So that's notable. And if I think about it, going back to the dominance chart, um, that there's a lot of signals showing that people are are gravitating towards Bitcoin as a safe haven relative to all of these altcoins. Um, so that's notable. But what's also interesting is I should, in fact, yeah. So yeah, even Ethereum is a better option compared to PEPE. So yeah, I would stick with the majors. And the majors, the top 10 coins, those are, I would say, and the top 10 coins excluding like your stable coins and your wrapped coins and all that stuff. Um, because I don't really consider those within the top 10. Um, Anything less than, the top 25 coins, you're basically just looking at tactical trades, and you're not really looking to hold them for very long because um, they're just not In my opinion, they're not. They don't have enough utility as the top 10 or top 25 coins. So anything less, anything lower than that in terms of market cap, you buyer beware. And that's about it. All right, so we kind of did a walk around. We took a look at the fear and greed index. Obviously there's some indication of fear in the market. Bitcoin's dominance as the safety trade is showing prominence, so that's notable. And that's also that's also a reason why a lot of these altcoins are now starting to underperform Bitcoin, because traders and investors are gravitating to Bitcoin because of its utility and because of how old it is relative to all these other coins. But if you can handle the volatility again, when I'm looking at these trades, I'm not looking at it from the point of, I'm buying it and I'm not looking to trade it for the next 7 years. I'm looking at these from a much shorter term time frame, potentially even tactical trading, where I'm holding the trade for one to a few weeks to a couple of months, and then sometimes, not often, will I do more of a day trade where I'm holding the coin for less than a week. But from my perspective, you're continue to it's a bullish market, it's a bullish environment. I do potentially believe that Bitcoin will kind of retest this 107 area that I was previously looking at, just for the fact that we have Donald Trump's inauguration coming up in a couple of weeks. There's a lot of momentum in the crypto space right now. Personally, I'm not looking to go long Bitcoin until we get to this $90,000 price level. I am in the process of building out a major position in Ethereum because I personally believe that's where the future gains are, at least into 2025. I have a couple of trades on XRP, AVAX, that the charts still look healthy, and I'm okay to average into them for the potential move to the upside as I'm anticipating. PEPE is PEPE is at an interesting area. I would continue to lean bullish just for the fact that we've held areas, I guess, important areas of support in my mind, looking at Ichimoku clouds as well as the DeMark indicators. I would not be entering. I would not be going long Solana because Solana is definitely underperforming Bitcoin, and I do anticipate Solana getting down to the 150 level. Doge, similarly, I would be very hesitant to want to enter into Doge at this point in time. I actually believe we may see more downside for Doge. If Doge doesn't hold this this cloud area, then yeah, we're going down lower, and we're probably going to retrace the entire Doge move up. So that's my call for Doge, definitely. Yeah, there's nothing notable for Doge. Yeah, if this 31 cent level doesn't hold, then I could make the case that Doge is going all the way back to 15 cents. All right, that's it. If you like the content, subscribe, hit that smash like that smash button. If you have any coins you want me to take a look at, let me know. The content that I provide is for informational purposes, to give you an indication of kind of what I'm looking at in the market. And that's about it. Millennial Trader out.